Sometimes in our industry, the music and film industry, the entertainment industry, video production, audio, whatever it is, sometimes we get a little beat up. We get led astray. We get led down a path that is not perhaps the high road that we're looking to take, or perhaps the road to success that we need to take to help get ourselves to the next level. If you are interested in that, if you are interested in how to figure out the best path to take, well, then you've come to the right place. What is happening, roadies? Welcome to yet another fantastic short clip here on our YouTube channel. It is great to have you and great to see all of you. Guess what? My guest this week is Mr. Doug Wimbish, bass player extraordinaire. I mean, to tell you the whole list of people he's played with, let's just start with, he is the bassist for the band LivingColour. He's played with Mick Jagger, Seal, Michael Bolton, Sheena Easton. It goes on and on and on. I can't even get there. But he is also the legendary bassist for Sugarhill Records, Grandmaster Flash. He played on the song The Message. He has put his mark over the last 4 decades on bass, guitar, on music, on hip hop, on rock and roll. The man is a sound system, and he was my guest this week on the show, and I'm so excited to share this short clip from that episode with you. You're going to want to check out the full episode. I got to tell you that right up front. If you do want to check out the full episode, hit that link in the description and enjoy the whole thing. It's a long one. We go deep. It's beautiful stuff. But in today's short clip from the episode, Doug and I talk about all of the pitfalls and perils that the entertainment industry has to offer. And of course, how to listen to those supporters and mentors around you who have your best interest in mind, and how to stay focused and stay on track. And when things get you down, because they will get you down, how to pick yourself back up and keep moving forward. So that's what we've got for you today. I'm super excited to have you. I hope you enjoy this episode. If you do, please consider hitting the like button and subscribing to the show. It means a lot to me. Again, you can pick up any kind of merch by hitting that link in the description below. We've got stickers, buttons, keychains, whatever you got, you can find it there. Here we go with Mr. Doug Wimbish.
Call yourself a roadie?
As you know, you've been in this game, this industry long enough, right? It can rip people apart, right? It can suck your soul out. It can be real dark. And for you to have sort of figured out at an early age, the way I'm going to protect myself is to keep, what's the next thing? And just like you said, just constantly surround yourself with positive people, I think is amazing, because I would imagine that both of those things throughout your career, which has been an incredible career, has guided you, right? I mean, was when you're young and impressionable, you get into bands, you think it's this and that. There's obviously many different avenues you could go down, right? Drinking and drugs and whatever it is. And then all of a sudden it's all over. And you've seen it, I'm sure, 8 million different ways play out. And so it's amazing that you had that sort of North Star. And then, like you said, surrounded yourself with positive people and people that could mentor you to help shepherd you through that stuff. And it's great to hear that you now work with kids a lot in what you do. So who were some of those early mentors, let's say, in your career that helped instill that in you and guide you that way and say, hey man, you've got something special. Don't piss it away. Here's how you go.
Yeah. Well, I got to give thanks to my family. My brother Victor, who's out in LA, he's older, and my sister Diane, who's still here. I mean, they would take me, or they would, come on, Doug, come on, let's go see Miles Davis, let's go see James Brown. I was like 12, you know what I mean? They're like,
yeah.
But so they're, but then again, they were, it was good for them because if they had me, they could get out the house, because my parents, they have to come back home. Sounds kind of like,
yeah.
It's like my sister's in the car making out with a boyfriend. I'm like, what time are we going? Anyway, but anyway, but that point being is, it's my heroes started right at home and right in Bloomfield. I had friends and mentors that were local, that were right here, that got me to the other ones, right? and it was a gentleman by the name of Gary Williams, who was a bassist that was in Connecticut. He gave me my first bass lesson. He was in the Coast Guard. His sister and I went to kindergarten together, and he was the one that would come back and go, "Hey man, what do you know?" Remember, his sister had a party at their house, and he just came back from the Coast Guard. So he had his room, and he was like in the Hendrix and Sly and Miles and Coltrane, and I remember venturing in his room. And he had his Telecaster bass and everything, and I was just doodling around. I said, "Hey man, Mugglers, here, take this bass, man. Here, put this on. So he started he just gave me that support of like, here's an instrument, here's what's going on, just play, without no, you can't touch my vibe, no, you can't touch my instrument." So it was local heroes. Gary Williams was the key. My brother Victor, Diane, just bringing me and exposing me to that. All right, then moving up the ladder. Then it was a person by the name of Harold Sargent, who I met in like 1973. And Harold was from Cincinnati. Harold played with Bootsy and Catfish back when Bootsy was probably like my age when I first started playing. Yeah. So Harold was really tight with them. Harold was the person that really, if something was going on, you could go to Harold, and Harold would help figure it out. He was in the Navy. He was a real guy. He didn't back down from anybody, but he had the heart of gold. So, and he was like, I don't know, Harold must have been like maybe 20 years older than me. So I'm like now Harold saw me. Yeah, he's got that vibe. So but he had, and he was so loving and so giving. So it was Harold, and Harold introduced me to Skip McDonald, the guitarist that I still work with to this day. And Skip was the mentor, the one that really guided me and gave me a lot of the knowledge that I have, that I still retain right now. And then I met Hubert Powell, whose son is Doobie Powell, and Hubert was just a genius keyboard player. Was Richard Groove Holmes' protege, great gospel player. And so those three right there were really, really key in my development, because it was on the job training. Mm-hmm. It was watch but don't see but don't tell. It was real groove maneuvers. Yeah. We just learned how to make things work, and it was those three guys that ended up taking me into a recording studio, and they introduced me to Joe and Sylvia Robinson in Inglewood, New Jersey, and then I started to experience the record industry, working with Sylvia. Sylvia was just such a genius producer, writer, and artist. It was Mickey and Sylvia was a duo that they had. They did a song, Love is Strange, a little backstory. That song was the most played song in America until the Beatles came in. Yeah. So she was on it. And meeting Sylvia was a key cornerstone. Plus, when I met her, she took a shining to me because I was a young kid around all these older folks. And she would always say, don't you men corrupt that young guy there. You know what I mean? So she took a shining to me. And her husband, Joe, was straight up, dude, Joe was not to be messed with. He was a serious businessman. And let's just say, back in those days at All Platinum Records, he had he knew how to get things done. You did not want to piss Joe Robinson off. So I was in this other frequency of like the record industry, understanding how the records get made, understanding how they get played, experiencing how bands are put together, and groups are just kind of like, get split up because of business situations that weren't thought out. You know what I mean? Some people you're so ready to do a record, but you don't understand that you might have signed your publishing away or not taken care of the business properly. So you start to experience these things. But mentors, mentors come from it's things that you learn from people. It's like, well, this person taught me this. Well, Joe and Sylvia taught me things that somebody else might say, well, hey man, they did this and that and the other. I'm like, no, that's true. but I learned from what took place.
Right.
So by the time I dealt with Joe and Sylvia, dealing with anybody else in the record industry was like eating cheese. Trust me, that was hors d'oeuvre. You kidding me? I'm like, I deal with them, and then I got to go into New York City over the bridge and hear people trying to run some game on me after dealing with Joe and Sylvia Robinson. So it became, it was like, so that's the lesson. Who is your influence? They come in different ways, shapes, and forms. And then the bottom line is, when things did go a little bit sideways, again, I had the support of my elders that had experience, that had been on the road. Craig Derry, a vocalist that I work with to this day, he has a great vocal camp in New York City. He's trained many, many singers up. Craig Derry, Google him. He's one of my main key living mentors right now. He's still there. Craig was from New York, so when we were down there, he was like, you weren't getting jacked by Craig. You know what I mean? He's still a good, strong, spiritual person, and many singers will go to Craig for the spirit. Because music is a reflection of your life. How you live, it comes out in your frequency. So if you can unleash that without having all this plaque buildup of negativity, Craig would be the one that could spiritually diffuse a ticking time bomb of tension that would explode into a conflict that lies within you. So I love you, Craig. But anyway, mentors. Those were key mentors that were in that sector of life. And then from there, it's like you start to absorb that, and then you start to mentor other folks. And by listening to them and by learning from them and giving them the opportunity to directing them into some good avenues, maybe help them walk around the sonic raindrops so they don't get too drenched in in acid rain. You know what I'm saying? So it's a give and take. It is something that is you say mentoring. You know, it's like it's a circular thing. But some of my mentors right now are young kids. I'm listening to them, and they're like, Uncle Doug, have you heard about this? Uncle Dougie. I'm Uncle Dougie now. So it's like, the mentoring doesn't come it can come from anywhere.
Right.
It can come, there's ageless.
Yeah.
Ageless.
It's not just top down. It goes the other way too.
It goes the other way, and I could say that with an open heart, you know what I mean? And so there's that sector. And now here I am right now, and there's many other mentors, but I want to give dap to the ones that really were able to help take me by the hand, and all I had to do was sit in the back of one of these Cadillacs and listen and watch. Yeah. And I was protected. You know, when we're playing in really rough places and things are going down, and the club owner doesn't want to pay us, and then Stokes, the saxophone player, who was a prison guard, would start to unscrew that microphone stand. You know what I mean? And then call out and bluff the actual. Talk loud about, this person over here doesn't want to pay us. You know what I mean? He knew how to punk somebody out, but we got paid and some. So It's like, how do you learn from what to do and what not to do from people that know that what they're doing is protecting us? Because there's many people that there's people that will take away and they'll smile. They're the ones that'll be smiling right at you. Next thing you know, when it comes time to get paid, they get selective amnesia. Right. So it's all of these things give you a way to see how things are done. I can't use that technique that Stokes did, but I can use verbal judo in a way that can help maybe, get the same result and also help the next generation here right now know how to navigate some things, just from what I've learned.
I mean, what else? What else can I possibly say after that? I had a great time talking to Doug. I hope you enjoyed this short clip. Again, if you did, please consider hitting the like button, subscribing to the channel. We'd love to see you coming back week after week. Stay tuned. We got a lot of great stuff here. And remember, no roadies, no rock and roll.